Welcome to the Celebrating Women podcast, co-hosted by Mandee Montana and Ashley Fisher, a podcast that celebrates women, their issues, their thoughts, their lives, conversations that celebrate their gifts, their talents, their courage. It's the Celebrating Women podcast. Presented by Hand & Stone Massage and Facial Spa in Tyler, Texas. Hey guys, it's Mandee Montana. You know I love to relax, and you know where I go, Hand & Stone Massage and Facial Spa. And you know, I was in there recently and had kind of a sore neck. I don't know if this happens to you, but when you're on your phone a lot or kind of slumped over, maybe working on your laptop, do you ever find that you just get really tight through your neck and shoulders? It's something I struggle with. So I specifically asked about this whenever I was in with Anne the other day, and wow, she worked through those knots in a way that nobody else has before. She really focused on my neck, and she was able to help me relieve that tension and that tightness. And she showed me some techniques where I can even help myself in between appointments. Amazing. I know sometimes you just need to go in and reduce the tightness, relax a little bit, and if you've been denying yourself, it's time. handandstonetyler.com to make your appointment today, or you can stop by the spa in person, Cumberland Shopping Center in Tyler. Hand & Stone Massage and Facial Spa. Welcome back to the Celebrating Women podcast. I'm Mandee Montana. And hey, you know what? We're taking a trip back to the past this week. I've been traveling and was out sick for a week, and so we thought it would be a great opportunity to sort of reintroduce ourselves. So due to schedule conflicts, Ashley's not here with me as I record this, but we both decided that it would be a good time to start back at the beginning. So if you've been with us for a long time, you've heard this before. If you're just finding the podcast, this is where it all began. We're here.
After how many years of talking about this or talking around this?
About 3?
Yeah.
Maybe. I think you had moved to your new home.
Yep.
I came over for coffee one day.
Yes. Which, let's see, it's March, so
I think it
was literally 3 years ago this week.
Really?
Yes. Because tomorrow is my middle kiddo's birthday, and we moved in like 2 days before his birthday.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so I guess we should introduce ourselves. So my name is Mandee Unkefer. I've also been known as Mandee Montana over the years on East Texas Radio. And that's really how you and I first met, because you came to photograph me for the radio station.
I did. They hired me for headshots, and which kind of turned into a cool, like, each radio host kind of picking their setting that they loved or that kind of represented them, and then me going and just shooting them in those spaces. And for you, I think the first place we like actually met was in the art studio downtown.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It is. Heart of Tyler, where I was a board member for Heart of Tyler for like 7 years. And the gallery space there, it's not there anymore. It's now, I think it's like an architectural studio. I'm trying to remember his name. Jennings Architecture is there now on one side, and then Lightbox Collective is actually where the gallery was.
Oh,
Jennings
I didn't
is on the
realize that.
office side. Yeah.
Okay.
They took that space over. Heart of Tyler moved into Plaza Tower. And so the Main Street gallery still exists. It's just now inside the downtown kind of lounge area, that first floor of Plaza Tower, inside behind Andy's and
Oh, that's
1836.
That's right.
Where all the
Yes.
seating is. Yeah. But at the time, the gallery was there. What is that? Irwin Street, I think. And yeah, that's where we first met.
Yeah. And I remember, like, you were super sweet, and I was still kind of, I can say this now, but I had total imposter syndrome that day.
Did you?
Yes, because I felt like, I wasn't photographing a family or a baby. I was photographing the DJs of Tyler, and I didn't feel like I'd been in business that long. I had been in business for a while, but still just felt very green. And you were just so gracious, and so, like, we kind of bonded on, like, you taking photography classes, and I still to this day will tell people your trick about breathing in and breathing out.
It works.
It does absolutely work. But you were so much fun to work with.
Thank you.
So
I felt
much
the same about you. And we didn't introduce you. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm me. No. I am Ashley Fisher. And yeah, I'm a photographer, a mom, a wife, and a podcaster, apparently.
Yeah, I know, right? Who knew we had this in us? But I felt the same way about you that day. I just felt so comfortable. And I think from having taken photography in college and being around people as they were learning the craft, and then hiring various people over the years and interacting with various photographers and radio at events and stuff, I can tell you, you have a gift for making people feel comfortable on the other side of a camera. And it's a scary place to be. I mean, you're vulnerable when you're the person that's being photographed. Some people love it and they're hams and it's like, but most people don't.
Yeah.
You know, it's like hearing yourself recorded. Most people don't like to hear the sound of their own voice when they hear it. A gifted photographer makes you feel beautiful before and after and during the process. And I believe that you do that.
Thank you.
I certainly had a blast with you that day. We were at the gallery, and then did we do the Rose Garden the same day?
Yeah. We went straight from there. I think you changed in the car.
I've been known to do that.
You would change, like you had 3 or 4 outfit changes and we just had fun. It was just kind of a fun, like, girl time. Like, what do you think? Which outfit do you think? I think this one. I do too. And, let me go hop in the car and change real quick.
And then we met again. And I don't remember how that came about. So do you want to give me some context? I just remember I don't even remember how you contacted me, if it was Facebook or if you called me.
And I'm trying to remember if it was me or if it was our mutual friend, Suzette.
It might have been, or it could have been Caitlin, or it could have been Lexi.
I think that what I did is I had started this project called Celebrating Women, where I was really just looking at the women that I was surrounded with and their different giftings, their different platforms, just the different things that they were doing in life. And I was taking their portraits, hearing their stories, and just trying to put that out there. I mean, even if it was just on my Facebook. And so I'm pretty sure that what I did is I really had a heart to go after a group of women in Tyler who really had a heart for Tyler and who volunteered and who were, just super active. And at the time I knew our friend Suzette Warren, and I said, hey, this is what I'm doing. First of all, would you be interested? And she was like, absolutely. And then I said, okay, great. Bring your friends. So she said, oh, I'm on it. And she was the one that brought, I didn't know, I don't think, until that day when you walked in. I was like, oh my gosh, hi again, Yeah. It was such a chance meeting because I had no part in that. I just said, Sunny, like, bring me, the ones that kind of you feel like match this vision. And she brought you, she brought Megan, she brought Lexi, Caitlin. Am I forgetting anybody?
I feel like we are forgetting someone, and I don't want to. Instagram to the rescue. It's on my
right.
Instagram page. But I had never met Megan. I had seen, she was a friend of a friend, and so I had seen her on social media, and I think maybe even interacted with her some on social media because she had put on some 5Ks. But I didn't know her, and I really enjoyed meeting her. I did know Lexi from Children's Miracle Network. I believe she's in Utah now working for their home office, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then I knew Caitlin because we had both volunteered together at Heart of Tyler. And Suzette, or Sunny, I think I had just known her mostly from Facebook. Okay, it was just us 5.
Okay, yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you featured other women as well in a different scenario, right?
So the very first kind of shoot was sort of a boss babe. It was, 3 women who they were kind of upper level and selling unique makeup and, doing that life and making a really good living for their families and really set on empowering women. And that was really my thing. I wanted something to be available to break down the lines of competition, because sometimes with women that just is there.
It gets in the way.
And you miss out on some really beautiful people and beautiful relationships. And so just going after something that took down those barriers, but then gave people that were not asking for it a platform, because I have so many amazing conversations with women all the time. The best part about that project were the conversations. Mm-hmm. And I have so many conversations all the time that I think, man, other people need to hear that. And so, yeah, I had a huge group of teachers. I had a group of kind of creatives. One had written a book. One was a musician, just all kinds of women, amazing women. And it was a really cool project.
And so, I think you even had a dinner at the end where you invited us all to kind of come together. I ended up having to miss it. I hated it that I wasn't available that night, but you booked like a
venue in Longview, which was owned by two of the people that I photographed as well. Madeline Lackey and her sister Natalie owned Dove Hollow in Longview. And
did you know I grew up with them?
No.
We went to the same school.
You're kidding me.
Mm-mm.
See?
They were younger. They were younger than me, so I didn't know them well.
Yeah.
I think Madeline's maybe like 4 or 5 years younger than me, but we all went to White Oak,
Really?
which is a really
Yes.
small community, so it's
Yes.
hard not to know each other.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Well,
And they're lovely.
They're
and they have
amazing.
a gorgeous venue.
They have an amazing venue. They have absolutely
Such
knocked
vision.
it out of the park. They do. They have done it so well. And in the throes, not too long after that of COVID and all of that kind of stuff. But we rented out that venue. I sold tickets just so that everybody could have a meal.
Yeah.
And we sat and, networking too. I wanted it to be a place where people could meet one another and network with one another. And then I had a sweet friend of mine, Shelby Skiles, kind of be the main speaker that night. And she had been through a horrific couple of years. She lost her 2-year-old daughter to cancer. And she was brave enough on the day that marked her daughter Sophie being gone for 9 months. She got up in front of that room full of people to share her story.
Wow.
And did so with such bravery, and she was just beautiful and stunning. And everybody in the room was captivated by not only her story, but her faith and her resilience and the fact that she was still standing.
Courage.
Yeah. So it was a really beautiful evening. And in a way, I hoped was sort of a hug for her, because I know that if it had been an event put on by Ashley Fisher, not all of those people were there for me. Most of that room was there for her. And I hoped that felt loving for her. So anyway.
Maybe we should have her and ask her sometime.
I would love that. Yeah.
Have her tell her story and then what that event was like for her, because I would imagine that it would have felt that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would have been my hope too, because that's any kind of public speaking, but especially when you're telling your story and you're that vulnerable and
that
you've
raw.
been through,
Yeah.
so soon.
Yep.
That's wow. So I guess I'm trying to remember how we came about this. You and I just sort of stayed in touch on social media. I love your work. I think you are just a wonderful photographer. And I would enjoy every time I saw your things come up on my social feeds. And so I was like, I have to stay in touch with this woman. She's lovely. She's got such a great heart. I love her work. I want to support her. I want to see her do well. So I have a similar heart for women as you do. I didn't always get along with other women growing up, because I think competition is just sort of something that our generation, especially, like, we were encouraged to like grow and compete with each other, like to be better than, or to whatever. And I mean, to some extent, I appreciate competition and what it breeds, right? Like, I appreciate capitalism. I do. But I do think that you can learn to compete with yourself and collaborate with other people and continue to grow.
Yes.
And that was what I felt from you through the process of you photographing me. I never felt judged. I felt beautiful. I really did. I felt beautiful during that process. And it's such that I generally don't. You, and then we have a mutual friend, Lindsay Steele, that I've worked with a few times. I always feel beautiful whenever I'm on the other side of Lindsay's lens too. And I mean, it's just an unusual and exciting and wonderful feeling when you have that with someone. And so we stayed in touch, and I've just always felt, since we met, And since I experienced the Celebrating Women project with you, that it was something I wanted to embrace too. And so I didn't obviously want to take your idea.
Yeah,
right?
no, that's the thing though. It's not my idea. It's just a great idea.
It is a great idea. And then when you and I would get together, we would have these wonderful conversations. And I think that's what happened that day when we were having coffee. I think we were talking about faith and courage and just the kind of the strangeness of the world at the time.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't really go and see the people that we wanted to or do the things we wanted to do. And I don't remember if you said it or I did. I don't remember who, but it was like, gosh, what if other people could hear this conversation? Would it empower or uplift them?
Right.
Maybe somebody should do a podcast like this.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be so cool of them to do that?
Wouldn't it? And then, you know, we kind of joked about it at the time. And then I tried to do a couple of things on my own. And then I reposted the photograph of the group recently on my Instagram that you had taken and just said what a wonderful experience it was. And I think you commented back like, I've thought about doing that as a podcast.
And man, you jumped like you did. It was great. Like I was like, it was one of those moments too. There have been a few of these moments in life where it's almost like God's like, all right, here's a little fork in the road. You can go this way. You can go that way. It's cool. Whatever. You know? And I was like, I'll just jump out there. Hey, what would y'all think about doing this? And man, like in minutes, like you were there and like, hey, I would love to do that with you. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, oh, this could actually maybe happen. And then it was maybe a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks before we sat down and we realized, I think as we got to talking, how much this was not just a good idea or something that sounded good, but it was something that was going off in us. Like, we can't not do this.
Yeah, definitely a calling.
Yeah, it felt like it.
Yep. And I, like you, have had many moments in my life. I feel like if I ever give a TED Talk, it's going to be about that subject where I've always trusted God, my creator, like whatever you want to call it. I've always had this knowing, this faith that when I feel that tug, I'm supposed to follow it.
Yep.
Like when the door is opened, I'll know it's the right door and I'll know to walk through it. And sometimes the people around me don't necessarily think it's the right door, but I know it is. And I know I'm supposed to go through. When I finished college and went into radio, it was a totally different path than anybody in my family and my peer group and my teachers. It was a really strange path. I had been very academic focused and competed in UIL and very I did, I don't know, math and science and spelling and all these things in high school and was in yearbook, all the things. It was a small school. I did a lot of things. And there was room for that. But everybody thought I'd go to a big school and I would go on to get a professional degree.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I did completely the opposite. I went to Kilgore College and I worked on my associates there. I was in the band. So I participated with the Rangerettes. I was not one, but I have great admiration for them. And then I ended up in photography and journalism my second year. And then I took a third year at community college.
Okay.
I had one credit that I needed to finish. And I used that as a great excuse to only take photography and art classes for a year because I thought
awesome.
It was. I thought I may never get this opportunity again.
Yeah.
I was living at home. I was working part-time in radio. And it didn't, community college is so much more affordable than going to a major university. And the one here in the photography instructor at Kilgore College was amazing. Just really world class. And so I thought, for a couple $100 a credit, why not?
Why not?
And it was a beautiful experience. But then I got offered a job, oddly enough, literally next door to this building.
That's wild.
It is so wild.
Crazy.
And I started there on a Monday after graduating from KC on a Friday. And then to gosh, how many years has it been now? Almost 20. That was 2005. So 18 years later to be here with you doing this.
Next door.
So
what you're saying, Mandee, is that you are quite the trailblazer. I think that's what you're saying.
I don't think so at all. I think that I just think you have to follow that tug.
Yeah.
And get comfortable within yourself and comfortable enough with your creator that you know what that tug is.
That's the thing. And the difference is at least for me, it's the tug that won't let go. Because sometimes, just like when you're, in like a bakery, you get a little tug to like, buy a cookie.
Right.
But then there is a gnawing ache to eat on a regular basis. You know what I mean? So sometimes something is fleeting, but like for us in having these conversations about starting a podcast, celebrating women, it has not let go of us for years. It's just been this thread that's just been there. And I think, I think for a lot of people, when you come to that moment, you just know. And so I think that hopefully this is going to be an example of, hey, when you jump on it, something really cool can come of it.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really come together nicely. And I think that's another thing that, I mean, it's like the chairs that we're sitting in. I mean, the sign, it all, the mics and the booms, all of this, none of this was here, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
3 maybe? Like we pulled it together so quickly. It wasn't a challenge. And I feel like that's like when you do have that tug that you're talking about that won't let go, and then you decide to take action, it's really beautiful how things just start to support that action.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening here. And so my hope and my intention with this is that it's supportive and empowering to other people.
Yeah.
And that maybe by getting to hear some of the conversations that you and I have and the guests that we intend to bring on, letting you hear their stories and what motivates them and how they feel led to do the things that they do and embrace their passions, that it will encourage more people to do that and to live a more fulfilled life.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay. So this is kind of the first opportunity that we've had to sit down and record. We do intend to tell you a little bit more about ourselves, my story, Ashley's story, and then some other things that we have going on just so that you can kind of stay plugged into us. But then, like I just mentioned, we do want to share stories and our friends with you because like Ashley was talking about that networking event, that dinner that she hosted, like we want you to be able to connect with our friends and to feel connected and feel like you're a part of a community and hopefully eventually grow to where we can be in community with you in person too. So that's another intention. But for this first episode, we really just wanted to kind of tell you how it came about and kind of set the stage for what's next. So just be graceful with us as we learn how to do this together. We are so excited. We appreciate your time. And yeah, we're excited about the future.
Yeah.
The Celebrating Women podcast wants to hear from you. Email us a voice message to celebratingwomenpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear your story or the story of an incredible woman you know. Become part of the conversation on social media. Facebook.com/celebratingwomenpodcast. On Instagram, search Celebrating Women Podcast. The Celebrating Women podcast has been presented by Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa in Tyler, Texas. Book your appointment today. Stop by the spa in Cumberland Shopping Center or online at handandstonetyler.com. The Celebrating Women podcast is created and hosted by Mandee Montana and Ashley Fisher. Support the show for as little as $3 per month at celebratingwomenpodcast.buzzsprout.com or visit our show notes. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to the Celebrating Women podcast.
Hey guys, it's Mandee. Have you been struggling to lose those extra pounds? Oh, I know. I have totally been there. An extra, 15 to 20 pounds can totally creep up on you in perimenopause. Or at least it has with me. And I think I found it early. I hope it's not happening to you. But if it is, I've got the solution. You can lose up to 15 pounds in 8 days with an incredible product line that I found and I want to share with you. Get a custom product recommendation with a complimentary wellness screening in the show notes. Just click Zing with Mandee.